Hi everyone. Today I want to talk about Etsy favorites and when someone comes to your Etsy shop and they favorite things, does that matter? Is it good? Because every now and then you get someone who comes and favorites everything in your shop, and that's a little weird, but it's not a bad thing. And there's also questions about how people favorite things and views versus. Let's just go and look because I'm going to show you exactly how Etsy has this set up in a very smart way. I'll give Etsy credit on this one. They've set this up in a very smart way so that they can use favorites to show people things that they might be more likely to buy. And like I said, let's go take a look. We're on Etsy, and I will give Etsy points for having this little thing right here, right up at the top. And there's very often like a little red dot next to it, which means there's something new to see. This is the favorites button when I hover over this, and this is going to look a little bit different on the app. I'm on desktop now, but I give Etsy points for this because what they've done is for favorites, anything I favorited is going to show up here. If I click this, then I'm going to see the things that I recently favorited. And I favorited a bunch of yarn right before I came on here. It's showing up right away. And if one of these is new, usually it's the new from shops, then they will show me the little red dot there. And there will be a little red dot next to this on the home page to tell you that there's something new. This is one way that Etsy uses favorites to try to lure you back to things you've looked at before. That's what Etsy is using this information for. They're going to show me things that are similar to the things that I have favorited in this section here. So when people come to your shop and they favorite things, they might come back to that listing later just by virtue of the fact that they're going to come to Etsy again, and Etsy is going to try to push them in that direction with these notifications. So that's one good thing. When you scroll down on the homepage on Etsy, is you see recently viewed and favorited items. So again, here's another place where they're showing me things that I just favorited. Like I said, if someone comes to your shop and they favorite everything, it's going to be a flood of your stuff on their home feed, which is a little strange if they're just doing it for whatever reason. Some people do that just for no good reason. But if someone does favorite one of your listings, then it's going to bring them back to that listing through this section on the homepage. Picks inspired by your shopping. See these two? I have not shopped for yarn on Etsy. This one also. What is this view more? That's interesting. That is tricky. I have never seen that before, and I didn't see that the first time I was on Etsy. Look at this, view more. And what did I say? What is this? I'm going to click on it. People love clicking on buttons. They love spinning wheels, and they want to know what's behind the wall. And I just fell for it. And you saw me fall for it. But see, this is smart. I give Etsy another point for this. So far Etsy has gotten 2 points for this. They're showing me things that are inspired. This yarn, I have never shopped for yarn. I searched for it and I favorited some things. So I guess it's inspired by my searches, not my shopping. I haven't put anything in the cart. But this view more is very tantalizing, isn't it? My assumption is that this is going to be more yarn, this is going to be more fabric, and this is going to be more digital stuff. So that's very interesting. And it says because I viewed these things, I didn't actually view them. I searched for yarn and then I went and favorited them from the search results. So Etsy is using the favoriting activity to populate this area, and I am all for it. And there you go. All right, now this is my interest. I don't know. I do have an interest in quilting. I might have searched for purple. I don't know. So they're showing me things based on my previous purchases, based on things I've searched for, and based on my favorites. So when somebody is favoriting things in your shop, don't be mad because it might bring them back to your shop later. Let's do a search for yarn. I'm going to do another search for handmade yarn, except I'm going to spell it correctly. Handmade yarn. That's all. There we go, and it's going to bring up the same kinds of things. Now, see the things that I favorited? Where are those? See these? I have favorited these already, and Etsy is using that to their advantage. So there's another point where they're putting those things right up at the top of my search results. Now, other people who are shopping for this similar keyword are not necessarily going to see those same listings at the top of their search results, but Etsy's showing them to me because I favorited them. So again, don't worry if people favorite your stuff because Etsy is using that information to put it in front of people in more than one place. So all the things that I have favorited are being shown to me at the top. I give Etsy a point for that. Okay, this is good merchandising because you wanted to show people things that you think they're going to buy. I'm going to go ahead and favorite this because that's pretty. This looks soft. I'm going to favorite that. I'm going to favorite that because I like the colors. There's some purple. They think I like purple already. I'll do that. I like the hand dyed yarn. And let's see what they start showing me if I'm clicking all the stuff that looks like it's hand dyed as opposed to the big brand stuff. All right, let's go back to Etsy's homepage. Now, you see what I did there first before we go back. I favorited all these things, but I didn't go to the shop. So if the shop owner is looking at their stats, they're going to see like 0 visits, but a favorite and a view probably. This probably counts as a view. So if you have a day where you have 0 visits, but 50 favorites, it's because people were favoriting your products in the search. Let's go back to my favorites here. And now all the things that I favorited are back here. All right, so that's very interesting. And it's showing me this stuff. I'm assuming that this was there in the search results. I don't remember, but it's showing me everything that I favorited. And my guess is that if I go back to the home page, it's going to have changed. All of these things are things that I just favorited. So this is probably going to be your most recently favorited items that show up here. And picks inspired by my shopping. This is more of that. You know, there's something else. Let's look for handmade yarn again because I want to show you how this works. This is something that people don't pay attention to as much as they should. And let's go to the listing before I favorite this. All right, if I favorite this right now, it tells me add it to a collection. And it's saying new collections because I don't have collections on this Etsy account. I have it on my other Etsy account where I used to have my other shop, but I don't have any collections on this. Collections are just groups of favorites, and you can put them in different, it's like a Pinterest board. You put them in a collection. So if I started this yarn and fiber, I'm going to do yarn because I do fiber stuff. I search for that sometimes on Etsy, and I would keep that separate from yarn. So I'm going to do that. It's going to create a new collection for me. That says it's private, but I'm going to say view the collection. And it has this one thing in it. And I guess if I wanted to make this collection public, I can do that, make it private. Let's just make it public. And then people can see what's in that collection. If people have public collections, then other people can see their collections and they will see your product that they have favorited and put in a collection. So depending on how people are using Etsy, that's another place where you can get visibility through things being favorited. So we're back on the home page and I'm going to click the favorite section again because I want to show you what they do with the collections is they have your favorites here and you're looking at your favorites. And then at the bottom of the page, there's discover similar items. And there's also collections we think you'll love. If someone has created a collection with your item in it, which is this, Etsy shows you at the bottom of the favorites page, and sometimes in other places on Etsy, they will show you collections that have that same item in it. So if I go to this collection, that green yarn is going to be in it. If we go to this collection, that green yarn will probably be in it. Let's take a quick look and see if we see it. I hope that it's still there. Page 2. Those are cute. But see, as you're shopping collections, you see a lot of other things, and you can favorite things from these collections. All right, so this yarn is actually not in this collection, but it is similar. I think some of this looks like something that I just favorited. I know this label looks very familiar. So they're using things that I favorited and that I created collections for to show me similar collections. This, I bet it's in that because this looks very similar. But people favoriting things and putting things in collections will bring you more traffic. So it is not a bad thing if people are favoriting your listings because Etsy, I give them credit for this. They do a lot of other weird stuff, but they have a very robust system for showing people things that they like, showing people things similar to things they like. The more that someone uses Etsy to organize things, the more information that Etsy has about them, and the more that Etsy can show them things based on those favorites, and they can show them those favorites again, which makes them more likely to buy them. So how do you take advantage of this? Because like I said, Etsy has set up a very robust system to get people back to the things they have favorited in the past and to show them things that are similar. And if you can get people to add your things to collections, then it will spread your listings around Etsy. One thing that you can do to encourage people to favorite your things is to have a little graphic in your listing that says favorite this with a picture of a finger clicking the heart. Now you can do this however you want. I put one of these years ago. I put one of these graphics in my program to give to people in the program. But telling people favorite this, a lot of times they don't realize that they can. But if they're in the listing and they see a picture that says favorite, save it for later, however you want to phrase it, they might favorite it and then they'll come back to it later. Definitely use favoriting to your advantage if you can get people to favorite your stuff. It will bring them back to you later, and it will also spread it around Etsy in different places, because as soon as a listing has that favorite on it, Etsy shows it to more people. They just use it, they use that information, and they use the listing in more places on Etsy. So give this video a thumbs up, leave me any questions, and I will talk to you later.